Making money. One thing that surprised me in the aftermath of the global financial crisis is the extent to which some really weird commentary's been happening. One website that I read quite frequently is macrobusiness.com.au. It's got a lot of up-to-date, interesting stuff there that gets you thinking about things. And one thing that has got me thinking about things a little disconcertedly, actually, is a piece that I read recently, essentially talking about foreign currency flows. So here's how they work, right? If you want to invest in Australia, what do? You bring your money to Australia, you exchange it for Australian dollars, and then you spend the Australian dollars in Australia. Well, makes sense, because Australian dollars are what Australian currency is. Okay. Now, one of the commentators on macro business said, well, essentially what's happening, foreign currency comes into the country, it goes to the Reserve Bank, essentially, which issues Australian currencies in lieu of that, and then the Australian currency is spendable. So the guy said, okay, why are we giving foreigners ownership of these things? Since essentially what is happening, foreigners' ownership of investments, since essentially what is happening is that we are creating currency. Like when the Reserve Bank gives you Australian dollars for foreign money, we are creating currency. So why then don't we create currency and let Australians own the stuff? The government, perhaps, I don't know what he was suggesting. Instead of having these foreign flows that, we're not really spending foreign money in Australia, so why do we need foreign money? Now, step back and think about that for a second. Why does the Australian dollar have value? The Australian dollar has value because you can buy Australian stuff for it. If you're a foreigner, yes, that's why it has value, or you can invest in Australia. But if you're an Australian, why does the Australian dollar have value? You can buy Australian products where products that we want are produced in this country, or we can purchase products from external sources, increase the current account deficit or reduce the surplus by purchasing from overseas. Okay, if that's why the Australian dollar has value, then when are people going to accept the Australian dollar, have confidence in the currency? If they can continue buying Australian products or make Australian investments, and if they continue being able to buy foreign products. That's the issue, isn't it? If we just create money out of nowhere, there is no foreign currency backing the currency, backing the Australian currency. And so there will be more Australian dollars for a fixed amount of foreign currency available. The price of foreign currency will bid up, and those of us who need to purchase things from outside Australia will find the price going up. I mean, on the one extreme, there's this wacky guy who says, let's just print money, and somehow, money doesn't increase the amount of real economic stuff out there. It's just a means of payment. But that means of payment must have confidence. People must have confidence in it. At the other extreme, there's how shall I put this, without putting too fine a point on it, the nut jobs who think that money only has value if it's backed by gold. Money has value if people have confidence in it. Essentially what that means is money, the Australian dollar, is backed by the Australian economy, the Australians' ability to output. So these crazy people who think we could just print money, and somehow printing money will increase the amount of real economic activity, then you'll say, hang on, what about quantitative easing? Isn't that what they're trying to do there? Aren't they trying to stimulate economic activity? Yes, but let's be clear about how economic activity is being stimulated by quantitative easing. Strip away all the fancy language. Quantitative easing, in other words, printing money, is basically just about one thing. It's about increasing expectations of inflation. Inflation, why does that increase economic activity? Well, if you have a currency that's likely to be inflated away, in other words, it's going to have less value in future, utilising that currency to purchase something now is better than waiting for later when there will be a substantial difference in the value of that currency. That's why inflation stimulates economic activity, because people want to hold real assets rather than money, which is going to lose its value. So, just to sum up, the value of a currency is a function of the confidence that people have in that currency. Nothing more, nothing less. One lot of nut jobs think, well, the only thing that matters is gold. Hey, what's gold? It's just a shiny metal. Who cares? At the other extreme, there's the equally crazy nut jobs who think, oh, let's just print money and somehow that's magically going to make the economy work. It's not as simple as that. A little bit of printing changes expectations, scares people, gets them spending. A lot, let's face it, just debases the currency. Well, that was my first attempt at a vlog, sitting in the lying on the spectacular premises of not even my office but my bed. Au revoir.